Welcome back, listeners and viewers, to another week of Deducation, the podcast where a couple of teachers, myself, Mike,
and myself, Courtney,
are here to talk about scary movies. And we're talking about a really obscure one today that right off the bat disappointed me because it wasn't dubbed. It was straight
thank
English.
Goodness!
Oh, it was just... You know I'm going to get one down there, though. Like, it was... I got excited when I saw it was an Italian-American production. I'm like, oh, but no, it was an Italian movie they filmed in America. So they were all straight English speakers, no dubbing involved. So, boo-hoo. We are here this week to talk about 1981's obscure Madhouse, directed by Ovidio G. Asinitis. Yeah, I've come down with... I've been sick with... I've got a touch of the asinitis. That's what happens if you eat too much candy.
There you go. Don't eat too much candy, kids.
That's right. All right, so, really interesting opening scene here. Like, yeah, it starts out, apparently we're 7 miles away.
Yes, we are.
Because what's going on screen is like 6 pixels high. Like, I would understand seeing in this a theater, you can probably make out what you're watching, but on a TV,
not on a screen.
Even a pretty big widescreen TV, you're like, what's going on way over there?
Mm-hmm.
So as it zooms in, you've got 2 girls, one sitting in a rocking chair, the other standing by the rocking chair, kind of humming a song to her or whatever. And then the standing girl, once the camera gets close enough, she stops the rocking and then just bashes the face in of the girl sitting in the chair.
The most step-by-step bashing.
Oh yeah.
That there is. Casey watched this one with me. And,
oh, did he?
Yeah, and he's like, that's not even real. I'm like,
of course not. It was well. I'm sorry, Casey, that they didn't bash the face in of a real person.
I know. Like, did you want to be the double for that person?
That's not even real. That's fake. Oh man. Welcome to horror movies, Casey. But that's how our movie starts. Like, that's like I won't say pre-credit because they kind of dropped the Madhouse title in there, which I guess kind of plays in a little bit later on, but we just get a face bashing to start our show. And then we cut to the future. Yeah,
and it's 5 days before Julia's birthday, and we are going day by day. Julia Sullivan, she's a young school teacher, and she teaches deaf children in Georgia.
In Savannah.
Yep.
Savannah, Georgia.
She is this just like beautiful young teacher who I didn't realize she was 20. She's supposed to be 25 in this movie.
No way.
I'm sorry. No. But she keeps having just these terrible memories about her twin sister Mary.
Right.
And we kind of start to pick up pretty early that Mary was sadistic. She was, just
she's
evil.
Messed up.
And her Uncle James is the father figure in the picture, pretty much.
Well, literally, because he's wearing
he's like a priest.
I'll be the, I'm like, okay, man, whatever.
And he talks Julia into seeing her twin sister Mary. She's been institutionalized. She's got this disease that has kind of messed her up. And so Julia decides, okay, I'll go. And the meeting doesn't go as well as, that you want it to be.
Yeah, these sisters clearly are at odds. We get the feeling, okay, spoiler alert, the 2 sisters at the beginning of the movie are supposed to be these 2. I don't think they are.
No, I don't think so.
They're not, because for one, they're, that if that were the case, that would leave Julia as the one that bashed in the face of Mary. And no, I don't think
she's
Julia...
the perfect sister.
Yeah, Julia wouldn't necessarily be capable of that. But yeah, so there's just a severe, like you said, a skin disease, and it just... Mary's creepy. Mary's kind of, like you said, she's sadistic. She screams a lot. She hates her sister.
Mary kind of reminds me of Zelda.
You took the words right out of my mouth. Right
when
out
I
of my
was
mouth.
watching this, I was like, ooh, she kind of just, no, I don't like her.
And you're not talking about Zelda from Pet Sematary. You're talking about Zelda, the Princess of Hyrule, correct?
No.
Oh, no, we're not making a video game reference here?
No, unfortunately not. Because
Sorry.
only one of them I've seen, and you're lucky it's Pet Sematary.
Well, the other one's a video game, so...
I've never played that either, so...
That's okay. I forgive you. But yeah, so I get the sense, though, that Mary is just... hates on her sister because her sister apparently has it all.
Yeah.
Like...
Yeah, I mean, she's got the doctor boyfriend, nice apartment, the looks,
right.
the good job. Like, she does have it all.
But Mary has a hospital stay and a dog?
Yeah.
So...
who is extremely loyal to her.
Well, guess what happens as the birthday approaches? Mary escapes from the mental institution. Dun, dun, dun. Like, okay, we didn't see that coming.
Exactly.
And apparently she's returning home.
Yes.
Because that's what they do. If you are under institutional care and you want to escape, the best way to stay under the radar is to go back to your familial home. No one will ever think to look for you there.
Nobody.
No. So Mary heads home. We guess, anyway. Julia, of course, goes home. And Julia's friends and neighbors just start getting murdered. Like,
yeah, the
pretty gruesomely.
Landlord, I forget his name, but he was funny.
Yeah, he was.
He stabbed. I mean, there's like nothing to it either. Like, he's just stabbed and gone.
Yeah.
And then we've got her best friend that comes and stays with her is stabbed as well.
Yeah.
It just kind of like, I don't know, I felt like it took a long time, but it also just kind of like moved along. If that makes sense.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like on one hand when they tell us that we're 5 days before Julia's birthday, then the movie actually feels like it takes the entire 5 days.
Yes.
But at the same time, it's like you said, it just keeps clipping right along. Like it's not really boring, but it just feels long.
Yes. Because it was like, I was just expecting like, when we need to get to the birthday. Like, when are we going to see Mary? That is what I kept, because you keep seeing it from her point of view.
And we keep seeing the dog.
Yes.
Like, this Rottweiler shows up. And it's
it's
again,
me.
these Rottweilers are just muscle.
Yes.
They're like Rottweilers back in the 80s and 90s. Pit bulls were always a thing, but they weren't really the mean dog back then. It was Dobermans and Rottweilers. Like, if you wanted to have a mean dog, you had a Doberman or a Rottweiler. So I remember growing up with those being like, hey, the guy down the road got a Rottweiler.
Yeah.
And you were just like, you got to stay away from his yard because
Yeah.
that thing will just murder you. But of course, now I think pit bulls have taken over that distinction. Dobermans were used for a long time as like security dogs. Like, before there were like high-tech security measures, a lot of places would, like junkyards and stuff would use Rottweilers, but a lot of places would like the buildings would close and then they would like release the Dobermans.
That's awesome.
In the
I love
building.
that.
And so if anybody broke in, you weren't caught on camera, you were just caught.
You were missing a leg or something, so
right.
Yeah.
So you see that a lot in like heist movies of this era, 80s and 90s or whatever. Like someone's breaking into a bank at night or whatever, and there's a Doberman.
I
It
love
just
that.
happens. But yeah, so even one of Julia's students, again, a student who's deaf, this dog kills the dog kills the kid.
Yeah,
like,
and this is the only death that we don't see, like, on screen.
which is fair because,
Yes.
again, you're murdering a child.
Yeah, I know. Like, when at first the Rottweiler had eaten some guy's face off. I don't remember who it was.
I know, it was great.
But it was gross. And, I mean, it's just, this dog's going to town.
Yeah, he's hungry.
Yeah. And, like you had said, Sasha Robertson, the little boy in the class, he's out throwing the Frisbee with another dog and comes across this Rottweiler, and
murder.
Ugh.
He did.
Poor guy.
And everyone's just, and understandably so, everyone's just sad.
Yeah.
Like, oh, it's my son.
Yeah.
And then, Julia's like, oh.
Yeah. She did a lot better explaining it, though, than I would, because, like, to her kids, I was like, I was kind of interested to see, because...
I was, too. I enjoyed that scene, because, again, they were special needs kids, and, you've got very young kids. Like, how do you explain that, hey, one of your classmates was killed?
Exactly. But, I mean, you do have that one friend that always, I feel like every class, like, she's saying, a bad accident happened, and he's no longer with us, and then the kid's like, Sasha's dead. It's like, Sasha's dead.
Yep, you are correct. You put this puzzle together faster than most.
Yes, but I just love how, like, she had them, like, share all of the good experiences, and me, the crybaby I am, was, like, tearing up a little bit, even though I don't know.
Oh, this movie got to you.
I was like, oh my gosh, that's so sad.
Oh, movie got to you. See, you fell for it, because Casey was irritated that the girl who got bashed in the beginning wasn't real, and here, he didn't really die, Courtney.
I know.
So you're okay. It's not a snuff film. Meanwhile, Julia is still... I think one of the reasons why this movie felt so long is because our main character, Julia, kind of sucked.
She did.
She just seemed like extremely helpless, yet at the center of everything all at the same time.
She was like that damsel in distress. Like,
yeah.
Oh no, there's scratches at my door.
Right. So she's very just unsettled that there's somebody hiding inside of her house. And she lives in a pretty big house. Like you mentioned earlier, she's dating a doctor. He's a psychologist, and he's important because he's got a giant mustache. And so as he's dropping her off one night, he sees he sees a light on upstairs at the house. And there's no possible way Julia could have just left the light on. No, not at all. So, but of course they investigate and there's no one there. There's not going to be anyone there because we're not at the end of the movie yet. It's just the mystery of it all. Julia invited a friend over to spend the night because that's what adult women do. They do what teenage girls do. I'm scared. Come help me. Julia, honey, you have a boyfriend who has his own place. Go over there.
Or go to your friend's house.
Yeah, or go to your friend's house.
Come on.
But instead it's, I don't feel safe in my home. Let's bring more people in. Julia's kind of a drag.
Yeah.
So guess who dies in the middle of the night?
Her friend. And her cat.
Her friend, Helen. Oh,
and her cat.
Did that cat murder get you?
No. No, I'm not a cat person.
Yeah, well, you got a heart. You got a place in your heart for kids, but not cats.
I'm not cats.
And so Helen, the friend, she gets attacked by the Rottweiler. Just rips her throat open. Kind of cool.
Yeah, it is.
Kind of cool.
It is.
Just because I know you kind of like the gore. Ripped her throat open. And does all this quietly. Very quiet dog. Because all this happened while Julia was sleeping.
And she didn't even I'm going to stop myself because I was going to be like, she couldn't even text her friend, but there weren't.
No, not 1981.
Not 1981, you couldn't. But I just think it's odd, when her boyfriend comes back over, where'd Helen go? I don't know, she must have left early.
Right.
You're not at all concerned at the fact that you woke up and your friend's just gone?
No, because the plot doesn't require me to be. The script says I'm fine. But yeah, so the Rottweiler rips her throat out and apparently cleans up after himself because Helen is just gone.
Yeah.
I like to think that the dog, physically ate her entire body, licked up all the blood, and she's just, and then, like a critter, basically. Like you said, Julia just assumes, oh, I don't know, she must have gone home. Because that's what friends do.
Yeah.
That's what friends do. So, Julia's birthday's coming up because the movies let us know that constantly.
We're on
and
4 days, one day now. We've had 4 days of reminders.
Right. And Sam, unfortunately, is going to have to miss her birthday because he has been forced to take a business trip to San Francisco.
But he did invite her.
They're in Georgia.
Yeah.
They're in Georgia. It's like, oh, something came up. I have to go to San Francisco. Things like that are planned,
Yes.
Sam. They don't just drop trips to... Hey, we're going to need you to fly to San Fran on Tuesday. But you're right, he did invite her to go. And as somebody with no parents, a sister who she fears, and an uncle that is... He's fine at this point. He's fine. He's a little odd.
He's a little just, like, touchy. Like
He's very touchy. My wife and I missed their relationship at the beginning of the movie when she went to visit the hospital, and he was there dressed like a priest, because he's a pastor or father or whatever denomination he is. I'm guessing based on that he's Catholic. And so, he got real handsy, like real tight hugs or whatever. Like, oh, buddy.
Yeah.
Know your role. But granted, being your uncle doesn't make that better. But it's like, okay, at least you're family.
Yeah.
So Sam's got to go to San Francisco. He's not gone yet, but later on, Father James, Uncle James.
Yeah, Father. We are in the heart of Georgia. Father Uncle James.
Yeah, Uncle Father James. He's hanging out in Julia's house, like taking stuff down to the basement,
setting up for the birthday party they're gonna have.
Right. And the landlord, who again we've commented, who died? Who got stabbed earlier?
The landlord's husband.
Okay.
Which again, like we've passed like 3 days, and
she's fine.
Yeah, like.
She's fine.
But they were also, like, fighting in the beginning of the movie. So maybe they, I don't know, sleep in separate places or something.
Yeah. And her name's Amantha, which is kind of a cool name.
Yeah, I thought it was Samantha.
Well, why wouldn't you think it's Samantha? It's not Amanda, and it's not Samantha. It's Amantha. So, she offers to help him out, and he says he's throwing a party. Right? Mm-hmm. And up to this point in the movie, everything from Uncle Father James has been kosher. It's been acceptable.
Yes.
Maybe a little off from our necessarily comfort zones, but nothing too big of a deal. So she helps him carry this bag down to the basement, which, if you're watching the movie, you clearly know what's in this bag. But she helps him carry it downstairs, and he just says, "You just helped me carry a corpse."
Yeah. She, like, made a joke like, "Man, what's in the body?" Or the bag. And he's like, "A body."
Yeah. And then they go on this chases her through. Like, this turn came out of nowhere.
The way that this was definitely, like, a big twist for me.
Yeah.
Because when I don't know what I did. I must have...
blinked?
Yeah. And she's at the top of the stairs, like, trying to get out. And he's like, "Oh, you like to play games?" And then he slides that glove on that Mary had, like, grabbed Julia with in the beginning of the movie. The glove that has been, like, helping assist kill these people. I'm like, oh, what?
Right. Yeah, and it came out of nowhere.
What?
Unlike when we watched Scream, Scream was trying to point fingers at everybody in the movie, to where it's like you had a reason to suspect everyone. Up until this moment of this movie, you just figure, oh, it's Mary and her dog.
Yes, it's 100% Mary and the dog.
And then the twist is just literally, you just help me. What's in this? A body, murder.
Yeah.
Uncle Father James just come out of nowhere.
Yeah.
So now we know who really is. Now, honestly, at this point, I assumed, he's helping Mary.
Yes, same. Right.
So now it's Julia's birthday. We now know about Uncle Father James, but Julia doesn't know.
Yeah.
So Uncle Father James meets her after work, takes her to her house, because this is what you do with a now 26-year-old woman.
Yeah, I guess.
Like, you...
blindfolds her for a surprise.
Yeah. Right, guess what? You're a grown woman, but we're still going to have... Like, I'm fine if, what was his name? Sam. If Sam wanted to do something cutesy for her, fine. Because it's your boyfriend. I get it. But no, this is your uncle, who we now know is murderous. So he takes her home in a blindfold, and of course she, being the idiot that she's been the entire movie, is like, oh, okay, like, I'm on all kinds of Valium and drugs. I'm totally fine. Like, she's just, she was obnoxious. And he takes her to the basement, takes off the blindfold, and now we understand why the movie's called Madhouse.
Yeah.
Yeah. All of the corpses from the movie.
They're all dressed up at the birthday party.
They're all there to have a birthday party for Julia.
And he's gone mad.
Oh yeah. Yeah, he's crazy.
Like,
did the movie tell us why?
No.
I don't think so.
No, he just went mad.
It was like, haha, you would have never guessed it was James because we gave you no indication why he's crazy. Haha. Like, you did. You got me, movie, because I had no reason to suspect him. So yeah, everybody that is dead is sitting around this table. Luckily, he got them there before rigor mortis set in.
Yeah.
Because it would have been hard to get him to sit still. Mary is also there.
And she like confronts.
Yeah, because Julia tried to escape.
Yeah.
And Uncle Father James got her.
And she's now tied up.
Yeah.
And Mary like confronts her like, now, like, look at me, you know, I've got this infectious disease.
Right.
And I'm going to give it to you.
Yeah.
And
and it's like it's twisted because again they're all family. And they're all with, like, he's a pastor, she's a teacher, like they're all, with the exception of Mary who's been institutionalized, they're all like functioning adults.
Yes. And like
so even up to this point you're like, ooh, you know, Uncle Father James has been helping Mary because Mary can't do it. And even Mary is like, yeah, ta-da, it's our birthday. You know, I've had nobody, now you have nobody.
And you know, meanwhile, like, Uncle Father James is just like singing to the people in the background.
Oh, yeah.
And, like,
yeah, he's lost it.
He's just like, he is the Madhouse here because, oh my goodness, he's like a child.
And then, out of nowhere, James kills Mary.
Yeah, just stabs her right in the back.
Yeah. And meanwhile, we've got another, like, subplot, which quickly you could figure out where things are going. Again, Sam has to go to the airport. And he's got to give this speech.
Which is 1,000 pages long.
Yeah, and his taxi gets a flat tire. So they stop to fix the flat tire. Fair enough. Sam then gets out of the car to practice his speech. And the wind blows and he drops his speech into like the mud puddle. And it does what papers do. They fly all over the place. To which Sam is like, oh, that was my only printed copy. Well, get the tire fixed, Jeeves, because you have to take me back to my place. Back to Julia's place so that I can print out another copy. Because I keep all my important work documents at my girlfriend's house. Which really is the only reason that we have Sam in the movie, is so that he could be that knight in shining armor.
Yes.
And come rescue Julia, because she clearly needs it.
Pull a little Jeffrey Dahmer move.
A little bit. So Sam does get back to the house. And he's attacked by the Rottweiler. Yeah,
and I love this part.
I was wondering, because you teared up with the kid because you're a kid kind of person. You didn't care about the cat because you're not a cat person. I actually wondered, I'm like, I wonder what Courtney's going to think of this, because he's attacked by this Rottweiler who pulls a straight, like, here's Johnny from The Shining. Just comes busting through the door, and Sam has a hand drill, like an electric drill with bit, and like proceeds to drill into the skull of this Rottweiler. And the only thing
going through my head was like, I wonder if this is where Jeffrey Dahmer got his like moves, because I don't know if you've watched that, but like that's what Jeffrey Dahmer would do, is like drill through their heads. So I'm like, wonder if this is where he came into the play of power drill.
I don't know. Well, considering Jeffrey Dahmer started in 1978 and
no,
this movie came out in 1981,
nope.
Possibly.
Maybe they got it from Jeffrey Dahmer.
Actually, this movie came out in 83.
Oh.
So, in America.
Okay.
It came out in Italy in 81. It came out in the United States in 83. Takes a couple of years to get a fine motion picture like this one overseas.
That's right.
Yeah.
But yeah, he just, I mean, the dog's dead now. It's gone.
Oh yeah, like finally,
Yeah.
like this, and it's. I won't say that the dog was like supernatural by any means, but the dog's dead and deserves to be dead.
Yeah.
Because it really was only there to help with the killing.
Yes.
So Sam makes it to the basement. Now, I wish they would. The movie did a pretty good job showing us the timetable of 5 days, 4 days, 3 days, but really, it gets really cloudy when Sam's debacle went down in comparison to what's going on with Julia.
Yeah, because it all happened in 5 minutes.
Yeah, the way they showed it is that Julia's already in the basement facing down, her uncle, and Sam is however far away with a flat tire. And somehow he makes it to the basement. Mm-hmm. Sam gets there and frees Julia. And then Sam gets into it with the uncle. But then Julia comes and murders her uncle by repeated hatchet attacks to the back. Like, shredded this man's back.
Yeah.
Just shredded it. So, we get one final scare as Sam and Julia are trying to recover. Mary pumps back up to life and tries to strangle Julia. But then dies, but not before she does one of my favorite things in movies. I have one last breath, and it's going to be something poignant. Tells her, "You will never be free," and then dies. And then we cut with Julia crying. Like, what a rough week for her.
Yeah, that's the worst. I'd change my birthday.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know if you can, but I would.
Yeah, why not? You can change about everything else. So go for it. And so that's Madhouse. That's Madhouse. 1981 Ovidio G. Asinitis directed movie. Written by 4 different people. It was a team effort.
Yeah.
Good work, y'all. What do you got to the table? What if we had a murderous Rottweiler? Ooh, what if we drill that Rottweiler in the head? Ooh, I like it. Keep the ideas flowing. Let's grade it. Let's grade this sucker.
This one's getting a C, a lower C, but not a C minus. Like 1 point from a C minus because I'm just like, the acting wasn't amazing, like we have said. It wasn't dubbed, so at least it got a C. Cause
I got a bonus point for you.
It would get a D for dubbed if it were dubbed. That's just.
Don't hate on the dub.
I can't do it.
Would you rather it be dubbed or read the subtitles?
Neither, because I'll fall asleep reading the subtitles.
Oh, you're such an American.
I know. I will flip the channel or like watch a different show on Netflix if the words don't match up with their mouth.
You're such an American.
I'm terrible. I am spoiled.
Hollywood's the only thing that can pump out good motion pictures.
I know, it's terrible. But it had some good gore, and I mean, overall, it was a really easy watch.
Yeah. I'm gonna also give it a C. I liked it because it almost scratched that itch of mine of Italian productions. I love Italian horror films because I won't say all of them. But there are some of them that are far better than others. If I were to throw, and I know these names mean nothing to you, but director names like Fulci, Argento, Bava, those guys are like the cream of the crop when it comes to Italian horror. The acting isn't always good, but the gore and the imagery is so far superior that you kind of ignore it. And so we'll get into some of that stuff, I'm sure, as we go along. But it almost scratched that itch to get a higher than a C grade because it had the gore and it had enough of those elements of like lead character that's kind of useless but is just there to move the story along. But then I I really was thrown for a loop from that turn. That uncle's just a nut bar.
Yeah.
And so that was kind of fun because it's like I don't get surprised by much, and that one kind of did. And so, yeah, a C for me, a C for you. It was fine. It was an average movie. That's fair enough. So, you teach young children. What educational lesson would you deliver here?
You know, honestly, though, I love the way that, like, in a sad situation, Julia was still trying to bring out, like, the best of this. And, like, I think that I would struggle, and just, like, recently with a young person being lost of, you know, a high school student that I'm close with. Like, it's hard because it's like all you want to say is like, oh, I love you, I'm here for you.
Yeah,
but,
I'm sorry.
Yeah, but it's like, I don't know what else to say. But I really like how Julia, like, made them think of the good things. And while it's hard, it's like, it's still good because it's like you still do need to, like, remember the good things in every bad situation. And sometimes it is just like the last thing that you want to think of, but I definitely think it's important, especially in today's world, just like try and remember the good things in every situation. Yeah,
I really think that out of everything of this movie that's average, that scene of her talking to her students, who clearly were special needs.
Yeah.
You know, they didn't get actors to pretend they were deaf.
No, I loved it.
They hired deaf kids. That it was probably the best produced part of this movie. Mm-hmm. Like, it was heartfelt and poignant, and I thought they did a great job. I don't really know where I'm going to go with it, other than just, I don't know, use common sense. Like,
yeah, seriously.
Your friend Helen is dead because you invited her to your house. Oh, I think I don't feel safe at home. Can you come over? No, go away. Like, that's how you solve it.
There's dog scratches at my door, and I remember being tormented by my sister's dog. Yeah. But I still want to stay here.
Yeah, no. Yeah, because like, oh, just go. So yeah, I guess just don't be an idiot. To be blunt, don't be an idiot. Yours is way better than mine. So yeah, 19. Ooh, I hadn't seen that one, and now I have. So check.
It was a pretty good one. I mean, even though it got a C, like it wasn't terrible.
No, it wasn't terrible. Like, C was fine. Yeah. Like, I wasn't, like we said, I wasn't bored by it, but it was still like, why does this movie feel so long?
I know.
And so I got one for next week.
Okay.
We're gonna go back to zombies.
Okay.
Because I was talking to my wife about what should we watch, and she's like, well, you know, so we were going back through the back catalog of like the different subgenres we've hit, and the only zombie movie we've hit was Anna and the Apocalypse.
I loved it.
I know you did, but let's be fair, that clearly was more musical than it was zombie. But we were, you know, she had pitched a couple, and I will admit I pulled up a website of randomness, and I typed in the 3 names, and it just randomized. And so we're going to watch next week next episode, one of her favorite horror films, and it is a good one. I really enjoy this one as well, is the remake to Dawn of the Dead, 2004 horror film. Now, it is a remake of a 1978 horror film, Dawn of the Dead, by George Romero. George Romero being the granddaddy of zombie films. He was the writer-director of the original Night of the Living Dead, which I highly recommend we watch at some point. But we were looking to watch something, and this one was a little quicker. The remake is the original is excellent as well, but the remake really, like, contemporizes it, and makes it a little more digestible to people like yourself that view 2004 as a classic. So to go all the way back to 78 would be quite the pilgrimage for you. And so, yeah, we are going to watch 2004 Dawn of the Dead, starring a bunch of people you've never heard of.
No.
Directed by Zack Snyder, who is better known for his work in, like, the DC universe.
Okay.
Justice League, Wonder Woman. You know, he let's see, what did he directed? 300, which, it's such a great movie. He directed Watchmen, which is a comic book movie. Those two are actually comic book movies. This is his first directed movie. He directed Man of Steel, which is a Superman movie. He directed Batman versus Superman. He directed Justice League. And then he directed a kind of a sequel to Dawn of the Dead called Army of the Dead. It's on Netflix. It's fun. But it's not as good as the movie we're going to watch, which is his first one out. But if you like gore, there's gore.
All right, good.
There's gore in this one. But yeah, budget $26 million, box office $102. It was a big success.
Wow.
It was really good. One of the better opening sequences in a horror film that I've ever seen. It's just really good, top to bottom. It's a very solid, very fun movie. So yeah, we're gonna watch that one next week if you're okay with it. I'm just curious though, if we were to have shuffled, what would we watch? Because I like the randomness.
That should be like
a
super, super good one.
That was probably going to be Dawn of the Dead, the original. Yeah, so let me go there real quick. If we shuffled, we would have watched... a 2022 movie I'd never seen, so... Dodged a bullet on that one. Incantation is what it would have been.
I was just looking at that today.
Oh, you were?
Yes, it's...
But why? It's not American.
Because I was looking at... So, over the weekend, my sister was talking about this new movie that had come out. Yeah. And it was in theaters. So, I just Googled new horror movies.
Okay.
Or I don't even think I did horror. I think I did new scary movies.
Okay.
And I think Incantation came up. And I was like, ooh, that doesn't look bad.
But I'm sure it's not English.
So it's probably bad.
Oh, I doubt it.
But
one of the scariest.
Never mind. It was just kidding. It was Consecration.
Oh.
So okay, it kind of sounded familiar, but
it did. Fair enough. But yeah, we're gonna watch 2004's Dawn of the Dead. You'll like it. I think you'll like it.
If it's gory, I'll like it. I'm sure.
It's gory. There's jump scares.
Oh, great!
right in your wheelhouse. And it's not one you really have to think about.
Good.
Like, the original has a lot of social commentary to it, but I think a lot of that, and this isn't anything personal. I think a lot of that social commentary of the original would be lost on you because of your age.
Yeah.
Like, that movie came out in 1978 and had a lot of social commentary about Americans and their reliance on, like, shopping malls. And it's like, but now you're like, yeah, I'm aware of a mall, but
I rely on online shopping, so...
Exactly. Yeah. You shop online, so big deal.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's a good one. 2004,
okay.
Dawn of the Dead. The other options that we were rotating through were The Crazies, also a remake, and the original also directed by George Romero. I think that's just it. Is my wife likes George Romero movies as long as they're remade. And then I don't even remember what the third one was, but I don't think we've watched a vampire movie yet.
We have not.
So I think that was one that I'm like, what about? And so
George Romero, he looks like the old man from Up.
Yeah, he does. I've met him. He's a very, very nice guy. He's passed away now, but one of the posters I had, remember when I had posters back here? The one of the creepy girl?
Yes.
That was from the original Night of the Living Dead, and he had autographed that poster.
That's awesome.
It's just out of view because he signed it higher up, but yeah. Nice guy, really nice guy. It's from the Pittsburgh area. And so, yeah, Dawn of the Dead next week. Zack Snyder's version, not the George Romero's version. We'll get to that at some point because we're going to do this show forever. But social media-wise, you can catch us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. And if you get a chance, go ahead and watch Madhouse. Yeah, it might be tougher to find, I guess. Let me see if I can find, if it's streaming anywhere, if you're listening. Madhouse. Where's my search bar? There it is. I'm checking out justwatch.com. They do a great job of coordinating places that you can watch movies online. So, like, whenever I want to find something streaming or somebody asks me where it's streaming, I usually head to Just Watch and type it in. Madhouse you can buy on Apple TV for $3.99, but you can also stream it for free on Tubi, Canopy, and Arrow. Tubi has ads, but I think Canopy it just says free. I don't think it has ads, but I also don't think it's. Yeah, you can just watch it. So, Canopy is if you've got. That's right. I knew there was some connection to it. You have to sign in with like your library card or your university, like university ID. Yeah, Canopy is a cool streaming site. Lots and lots of stuff, and they're free to watch as long as you have a library card.
That's cool.
That's connected to it. But Tubi's a site I really like as well. A lot of cool horror films. But yeah, you can watch Madhouse on Tubi or Canopy or Arrow. Arrow has subtitles. I think. You have to subscribe to Arrow, so no big deal. So for another episode of Education, I'm Mike,
and I'm Courtney,
and we'll see you next week when we talk about Dawn of the Dead.
Bye.